Fun fact, Beyonce adopted the alter ego Sasha Fierce to overcome stage fright. Play the music. Welcome to Open M.I.C. I'm your host, Jamal Raheem. Now, Open M.I.C. is a music podcast where you can get everywhere. You can also watch it on YouTube if you're one of them visual people like myself. Now, in this episode, we are going to talk about Queen B, Beyonce. We're going to talk about the album, my review of the album. We're going to talk about country music not accepting Beyonce in the bigger issue with country music and black people. And then I'm going to rank Beyonce's album from the best to worst. Without further ado, liggity shotty.
All right, before y'all watch or listen to this episode, I just want y'all to know there is an echo because of my microphone. I didn't realize that the echo was on. And I didn't realize it until I started editing the video. And I'm not going back and recording a whole nother episode again, because it would be my third time recording the episode again. So I apologize ahead of time. Let's just get into the episode, though. Thank y'all for watching and listening. Peace out.
Let's go. All right, so I'm going to give my review of the Beyonce album. Now, first of all, I want to let y'all know that I recorded this episode already once and the audio didn't work. So that kind of sucks. So I'm redoing this whole thing. That's how much I love doing this. I already had 2 episodes too previous that I recorded, but I really wanted to talk about this Beyonce album. So I am doing my review of the album, but before I give my review, I just want to let y'all know that I listened to this album like 4 different times. I listened to it working out. I listened to it going to work. I listened to it cleaning my house. I listened to it at work. So I've listened to this album in multiple different situations. I haven't got to listen to it like in a big gathering. It's because I just haven't been to a big gathering, but I also would love to hear it in a big gathering and then really see how I like this album. But I've listened to it multiple times in multiple different settings is my point. I also, when it comes to an album, I do my research. So I look up the lyrics, I look up the songwriters, the producers, the importance of the songs, the message behind some songs. I do all that. I do my homework is what I'm basically saying. So when you're getting my review of an album, that's what you're getting. You're never going to get a first listen review. That's not what I give. That's just not stuff I'm interested in giving. I don't need to be first. You feel me? So let me get into my review of the album. I took my trusty old notes like I always do. So let's talk about the storytelling. The storytelling on this album was amazing. Phenomenal storytelling. Like I was like surprised that like the storytelling was as good. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know what I expected, but from the opening song to her talking about her experience like at the CMAs and being vulnerable and all that type of stuff, like that's something I never would have expected, especially like from the early days of like Beyonce. You would have never expected her spilling her guts out the way that she does on that song. So that's already let me know, oh man, we about to get some heat. You know, like to hear her talk about that and like hear that song, like it gave me chills, you know, like I was like, oh, I don't know what to expect. I wasn't expecting that. And then the second song, Blackbird, it has her talking about like the black struggle. And I think it was like iconic. And that's the word I want to use, that for her to use her platform to put country artists who don't get the credit, who aren't getting the shine, who get overlooked, 4 black women on the track who don't get the shine and country and the genre has overlooked. And then on top of that, with the message of the song and it being a cover of a Beatles song, it's crazy to me. And I was like, the first 2 songs, I was like, what is she about to give us? Like this storytelling on this album, it's crazy how every song has its meaning and it means something. It's not like wasted songs. And I personally hate when people give us albums and it's wasted songs, like filler songs. I hate filler, whether it's a filler episode on a TV show, a filler on a song. I don't like filler, and she didn't give us that. Like Protector talks about her being the protector for her daughter, which is like hearing all these things and the stories behind these songs is like crazy to me. Like I can go on and on about the storytelling, and I am a big fan of storytelling. If you know anything about me, or if you want to know something about me, I am a big fan of concept albums. I'm a big fan of execution. I'm a big fan of storytelling, whether it comes to hip hop, R&B, country, pop, whatever it is. When it tells like a story and it's like a complete story and done well, I'm always going to be a fan of that. Storytelling on this album is perfection. Perfection. Now, production, this is my favorite part of this album. It's honestly been my favorite part of the last 3 Beyonce albums. Not saying the songs weren't written well, because they were, but the way that the albums are produced is crazy. You know, the flow, the transitions, it sounds like a production of a movie. It sounds like a production of a movie. Like it's like there's different acts, different scenes. It just sounds like a project. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime I think about something like this, I think about when Beyonce was that interview when she was like, people don't make albums no more. And I think that's what she meant by it, because when we get a Beyonce album, we're getting a production. It's like Romeo and Juliet. You feel me? We're getting a production at top tier level. But the engineer on this album, whoever it is, you was in your bag. You was in your bag. It was all heat. All heat. Like we're getting some top tier like production. And it was nice to see her like using like producers and using like artists that like usually like do hip hop and R&B. Like you heard Thundercat on there playing instruments. You heard DA got that dope. You heard that on there. Swizz Beats is on there. Like it was nice to see her blend. I guess blend really the package of Beyonce with country. That was dope. You know. But it's this. I'm not gonna act like this is like the traditional country album, because it's not. From what I even know about country, and I'm not the biggest country fan, but I know this isn't the traditional country album. This is a Beyonce album. And I love that she put that statement out, like this isn't a country album, this is a Beyonce album, because that's what this is. It's a Beyonce album. It's country for somebody like me who don't really like country. I like the big songs. I know like the big artists, but I don't know like the album cuts, the deep cuts. Like I know Tennessee Whiskey, like songs like that everybody knows. I love the album. I loved it more and more on each listen, and especially like doing the research and finding the meaning out behind the songs, reading the lyrics to the songs, catching like the production and all that type of stuff, the stories behind the songs, all of that stuff made me love the album more and more and more. Big fan of this. Now, we're going to take a break. Oh, before we take the break, I want to give my favorite 5 songs from this album. My favorite 5 songs. Bodyguard is my favorite song on this project. I think that was crack in that song, because that song is a banger. That song is on my playlist already. That song is on my work playlist. Of course, it's the clean version of it. But Beyonce and whoever produced that and wrote that, y'all was in y'all bag when I tell you. Tyrant is another song that I like. Most Wanted with Miley Cyrus. The way that their voices blended is something I never thought would happen. Blackbird, I love that song for the meaning. I love that it put other artists on. I know it's a cover, and it's nice to hear it. And like the importance of that song is why that's one of my favorites. and Yaya is the last one that's my favorite. I think that song ties the whole album together because it talks about genres and blending and stuff like that. Which I see a lot of people have this weird hot take on genres. Um, it's a take that I personally think is stupid. Um, but we'll get into that after the break. So we are back. I'm going to talk about a country's relationship with Beyonce and the bigger picture, country's relationship with Black people, and also this whole concept that seems to be a hot topic for some people is genre blending. Um, so for people who don't know, country was created by Black people. I know a lot of people keep saying it's created by other people. That ain't true. Do your research. I don't know what Google y'all are looking on, but the Google y'all looking on is clearly wrong. Country was created by Black people. And for a while, which is one of the reasons why I even been a little turned off from country, not a little, a lot turned off from country, is it's not accepting of Black people. And I don't mean country like as in the music. I mean the fans, the people who love it, the award shows, the radios. These people have been unaccepting of Black people. And it goes back to other artists, but it really what put it on my radar was when Beyonce performed at the CMAs. And I don't want to act like when she performed at the CMAs, it's like the CMAs is something I watch every year because I don't. I literally only watch it for Beyonce's performance, and then I never watched it again. So I understand I'm not the right person, as in like I watch the CMAs every year, but to see how they reacted towards Beyonce and the tweets and the messages to the point that CMAs pulled the video of them having Beyonce perform, and then the backlash from that, they put it back but the damage was already done for somebody like me. And I understand that her having the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, and they don't rock with the Dixie Chicks or the Chicks. I gotta stop saying the Dixie Chicks because obviously history. And we're talking about country, so that's really and they don't really rock with the Chicks. So I understand the importance of that as well and how that was going to rub people the wrong way. But seeing the racist messages and seeing all this stuff, and then that caused me to do my research, and then hearing and seeing all these interviews of popular Black artists like Darius Rucker, Kane Brown, saying like, yeah, it's hard for them in country. They didn't feel accepted. They were having hard times getting featured on songs and stuff like that. And it just turned me off from country. And a lot of people are like, y'all acting like the backlash is crazy. This what we have Black artists in country. And that's true. There are Black artists in country, but they are not accepted in country like that. In fact, a lot of people have a hard time, I think, seeing Black people as country, as being from the country, and they can accept somebody who isn't even from this country or from the country, the actual country, as they can accept them as country before they would accept a Black person as country. Like there have been plenty of Black artists who have complained about their experience. Plenty of Black artists from the Darius Ruckers, from the Kane Brown. K. Michelle complained. Money Long, who she did an interview recently. I don't know if it was the Breakfast Club or Sway. If I can find it, I'll put it in here. Where she talked about this subject.
You are in Nashville, attempting to showcase yourself as a country artist. I mean, there's this one guy, Tony Evans Jr. If you don't see him, you think that is an old white man. Like, I mean, he is incredible. But then when you look at him, he's just like this really handsome, buff football player looking dude that plays guitar, Black guy. It doesn't match what the traditional image is. And one thing that you realize is as soon as you walk in the door, their opinion of your music changes based on what they see. And so that's only something that you can experience physically and in person.
Yeah.
And I think Beyonce has transcended that to where she has so much notoriety and power and talent, clear talent, that it's hard to hide behind the excuse that this isn't country, bless your heart.
See, she's talking about the struggles that black artists have. Black artists have struggle in every genre because of the music industry and the way it's set up. But especially in country where they are not felt welcome, where they're getting hit with hateful messages and called slurs and all type of things. And that is something that country needs to figure out. And it also rubs me the wrong way that a lot of artists, black artists, have to get the cosign of a white artist for them to be accepted. Like even Lil Nas X song, which I think he was trolling. I'm not gonna act like I don't think he was trolling. I think he was trolling with Old Town Road. But that was clearly a country song. And that song didn't get taken serious as country until he got a white man and Billy Ray Cyrus to basically hop on in the remix and basically co-sign it. That's when they start taking it serious. And the people like to bring up Nelly and his song with Tim McGraw, but he needed Tim McGraw for them to consider that song country. Because if that was just Nelly on over and over again, that wouldn't have been considered country. In fact, his album Sweat, or his album Suit, part of the duo album, most of them songs is like they're singing. They're all singing, but they wouldn't have been considered country. In fact, they weren't even considered R&B. That's even crazier. They were considered hip hop. That says a lot about genres and how genres like they think a certain way about certain people. You know what I'm saying? And it gives me to the bigger topic or another topic of genre blending. People seem to have a problem when black artists go into other genres. They say it's something like disrespectful to country or it's disrespectful to whatever genre. But I don't think it's disrespectful, and I only think they have a problem when it's black people. Because Post Malone has done it. He used hip hop. He's literally talked about, which is my big issue with him, how hip hop is fun, but when he wants some real music, he dabbles into like country and stuff like that. He literally said that, you know what I'm saying? But he had White Iverson, he had the braids, was literally cultural appropriation at its finest. And then he goes to a different genre. Nobody has a problem with that. Taylor Swift, same exact thing. Nobody has a problem with it. She started in country, moved to pop, and then she dibbles and dabbles in it. Nobody has a problem with it. People who are complaining about people switching genres, I find it to be funny that they are doing this because it makes no sense. Like, if you can do the other genre, I don't even care if you're actually from the country, me personally, but I know some people care. If you could do other genres and it sounds good, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. I personally hate that we have genres. I understand why we need genres because people need categories. That's just how people work. But I hate how genres are viewed. I hate how people think you should just stay in your lane. Like, you see it all the time too, for the Grammys especially at these awards where they put albums in categories they shouldn't be in. Tyler the Creator won a Grammy for his album, and that wasn't even a rap album. He said it. He said it wasn't a rap album, but it was in the rap category. They wouldn't have put that in a pop category. They wouldn't put it in any other category. Like, they put it in rap. And you see this happen all the time. You see it happen all the time. Even songs that are like quote unquote rap songs, they get put, like Hotline Bling. That ain't no rap song. It gets put in the rap category because they only see Drake as a rapper. Drake is a pop artist sometimes. Drake has pop songs. Now, I personally think he is a rapper most of the time, but some of those songs, the ones that be winning for rap, are not rap songs. And like, I think it shows more so on people's preconceived notions. And I think that genre blending is okay. We just need to categorize people the correct way. And it's okay. We shouldn't only have a problem. We, as in them, shouldn't only have a problem when black people do it. Be consistent. Have a problem when everybody do it, or don't have a problem at all. To be honest, because I don't think it's a problem. And before we move along to my ranking of Beyonce albums, to the people who are saying Beyonce is only switching to country or doing a country album because she wants to win the Grammys for Album of the Year, are you smoking dope? Are you smoking dope? Y'all think that she is switching to a country album to win the Grammys for Album of the Year? If she was to win, that says more about the Grammys than it does about Beyonce. If that's the only reason why they're giving her Album of the Year, that says more about them. In fact, I think they get Album of the Year wrong majority of the time. Majority of the time, I don't even think the people who are voting on these things listen to all these albums. That's just personally what I feel like. But if they're only giving her the Grammy for Album of the Year because she switched the country and they don't want the backlash, that says more about them than it actually says about Beyonce than it does about anybody else. Why would she switch just to win that? Her whole purpose of doing these last two albums in particular is to reclaim the music for black people. When it came to Renaissance, it was for the queer community, queer black people. That's what that album was for. And Cowboy Carter is for black people in the country who are getting overlooked, who have been getting overlooked for years. For years. Like, she did her research, she did her history, she did all that work. This album ain't for like to win the fucking Grammys. It's not. But we don't want to be doing this negativity, so we are going to rank Beyonce's albums right after this break. All right, now we are back, and I wanted to give my rankings of Beyonce's albums. I change every day. I change all the time on my rankings of her albums, depending on the place that I'm in my life. Usually, is how my ranking goes. So we're going to just get right into it. Now I have all the CDs, so I'm going to show the CDs, except Cowboy Carter. I don't have that on CD yet. But we're only doing studio album solo. So no Carters, even though I have the Carters. Shout out to the Carters. No soundtracks, no Destiny's Child, only solo work. So only solo albums. Let get it, shawty. Now, the first album, or the worst album to me, so we're going from worst to best, is Sasha Fierce. I love certain songs off of this album. I think that this album is just her worst, which it would be the best for a lot of people. But my personal favorite song on here right now, because it switches as well, is probably Halo. Halo is one of them songs that make me wish that like I can sing. It's one of them songs. If I can sing, you guys will be annoyed by me. I tell you, I'll be singing that song every single day. But that is number 8 on my list. At 7, we're going with Dangerously in Love. Now, Dangerously in Love has one of my one of my favorite Beyonce songs, which is Dangerously in Love 2, which almost every man that I know loves that song because it is a banger. You know what I'm saying? So that is my number 7. Number 6 is probably going to shock a lot of people. It's Lemonade. Lemonade. I love Lemonade. It was higher on my list, but life has been lifing, and going through life, it changed. I think Lemonade is a phenomenal album. I think the whole movement, when the album was showing the videos and everything like that, I think that album is top tier. My favorite song on there is Freedom. Like when I heard it, I knew immediately that Just Blaze produced it. I knew immediately that Just Blaze produced it, you know. And I never even looked to see if Just Blaze produced it. I just knew. That's how much of a fan of his I am. But that album, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Freedom, phenomenal. Kendrick's verse, phenomenal. At 5, we're going with Renaissance. Renaissance, I love this album. My favorite, there's 2 songs. I can't just pick one off Renaissance. Cuff It, especially like the wetter version of Cuff It, fantastic. Fantastic. And also Church Girls, because that song gets me hyped. You know what I'm saying? When you working out to that song, I be feeling like I could punch a hole through a wall. You feel me? Fantastic songs. That is number 5 on my list. Number four, whew, is the Beyonce album. The Beyonce album is number 4. I had this album higher on my list. Like, if you would have asked me to do this like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, this probably would have been number 3 or 2. But I think this album is just a classic. Everything about it is dope. My favorite song on here is Rocket. Let me sit this ass on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bruh. Come on. Like, I don't be getting jealous of people, but like, Rocket make me jealous of Jay-Z. I ain't gonna hold you on that. At number 3, my personal favorite Beyonce album. 4, this used to be my 1. This is my favorite album by her. I don't care. This will always be my favorite album because it has some of my favorite Beyonce songs on here. You got my favorite song by her, Love on Top. You got another banger, Party, you know what I'm saying? I Care is also on here. Woo! That's classic. Classic. Like, the day that I find these albums on vinyl, I might shed a tear. At 2, I'm going with Cowboy Carter. Now, I don't own that one on CD yet. I will eventually get it on CD. But everything that I said earlier, the production, the storytelling, the message behind the songs, the transition, just everything about that album, I really enjoy. Big fan of that album. That is number 2. And number 1, easily, B-Day. When you talk about an album that feels like a greatest hits album, that is B-Day. Not a bad song on here. Not a bad song. Like, my favorite switches every single time I listen to this album. This might be one of the records I spend the most. My favorite right now, we're going to go with Freakum Dress. Kitty Cat's another banger, though. Shout out to Beyonce. Because she was in her bag. Like, Dangerously in Love, the album was like her like walking in the door. B-Day was her kicking that shit down. Kicking it down. So, I'm going to give my ranking again. At 8, Sasha Fierce. 7, Dangerously in Love. 6, Lemonade. 5, Renaissance. 4, Beyonce. 3, 4, 2, Cowboy Carter, and number 1, Beyonce. That is my album ranking. I would love to know what your album ranking is for Beyonce albums. But before we get out of here, I got to hit y'all with the song of the week. The song of the week is Yoshi Vintage Alpha. It's a banger.
I'm hardcore, I'm pretty, I'm more down. I can't rock with the pop girls, but the bitches make gangster rap. I'm your drug, your plug, nigga. You a spliff and I'm all crack. I am not from this world, nigga. But fame, I won't impact these boys rapping in falsetto. Goofy from the get-go. Say they got haters, baby boy, that's just your echo. One of no kind, crucified in the ghetto. I'm telling as a skull, you niggas fold just like elbow.
And that was Yoshi Vintage Alpha. Now, for people who be talking about women can't rap, yeah, alright. Sit your ass down. And this has been Open Mic. I've been your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Rate us 5 stars if you're going to rate us anything else. Don't waste your time. And I'll catch y'all next Wednesday. Peace.